Hello, Ms. Z. How you doing? It's me, Carlos. I know it's been really hard for everyone to adapt to this new situation that's going on with the COVID-19. I know I've been ghosting on a little bit on this class. I do want to apologize for that. It's been kind of like a crazy semester for everyone. It all started with this new semester going on, me moving out of my parents' house and all that, and everything was going good, and then COVID-19 strikes. 2 weeks of spring break. You kind of like sort of like got lost in the moment. But I do want to thank you for everything that you've done this semester. You've been amazing. You dedicate yourself a lot to your students, which is hard in times like this. It's easy to get lost, like it happened to me. I do want to reflect on what I learned this semester, which is a lot. One of the main things that I learned about was how to look at the sports communities in a different way. Not only as, okay, yeah, I'm a member of this and I'm a member of that, but truly understanding what's really going on with that discourse community that you're part of. And this was all thanks to all the different things that we did in our research in our discourse communities. First with the map, you kind of like grasp the idea of what's really going on with the community you're part of. My community was the Mexican restaurant community. I became part of that community 3 years ago when I decided to embrace my culture and look. I mean, I've always been into cooking, and I feel like Mexican food is like the best way to go to. And as I was saying, the first thing in class was the map, which in my case I did like a taco type of thing to explain everything. And I remember like that helped me grasp another view of what my discourse community really was, because now you see it as an outside perspective, not like everyday routine. I remember that it was really like really opened my eyes of what my community really is. It's not just like, okay, yeah, I work at a restaurant. It's more like this whole community that, in my case, right now it's local because I work at that one restaurant, but it's also global. I've seen it's a community that's all over the world. How did I learn this? Well, it was basically thanks to all the work that we all put in, and thanks to your information you gave us. Also by the information our classmates provided, like with comments when you asked a question in class, and people commented on that, and you get new information, probably information you didn't get when you were like first thinking about it. You get new ideas when people talk about things. I think the takeaway, like the main takeaway, it's like for this semester in particular, it's to adapt to new situations. To like right now with everything that's going on with COVID, to adapt, to change things on the spot. I know things can change, have a turn, a 360-degree turn in any second, and this semester was a perfect example. Perfect example. We all thought it was gonna be, oh yeah, 1 week spring break, we come back and we continue our lives as we had it planned. And when we got the email like, oh, you know what, school's gonna be closed, so you're gonna have to like change this and that, everything's gonna move online. Me personally, I don't like online classes because I just, I don't know, I find it hard to like stay dedicated to that class. uh, what else? Well, the reading responses, I mean, I feel like it's like the way to start the semester because it's basically giving you the tools that you're gonna use throughout the semester. I remember some of the first reading responses were like, oh, okay, what's discourse community? What's the difference between a local and a global discourse community? How can you identify if you're part of a community? Some of the characteristics were, okay, you have to be voluntarily choosing to be on that community. You can't just be like forced into it. Like for me, I'm a Catholic, but I didn't choose to be a Catholic. I've been Catholic since I was born, so it's not a community that I chose. So technically, it's not my discourse community. The next thing that we did was the map, which, as I mentioned earlier, it was amazing for me to open up my eyes to a different perspective of something that I saw as a routine, me going to school, then going to work, and then going back home. and the map was the first step to me to see what my discourse community, which is a Mexican restaurant community, and to see it through a different perspective, not as a job, but as a community that I'm part of. The map was amazing. I really liked that one. It was one of my favorites because it involved like creative thinking and how are you gonna explain these to someone who's not part of the community, and make it authentic to that discourse community. You have to find a way to express what you know about that community in a way that it's simple but it's yet effective, and it's something that only it's only gonna help you develop a deeper understanding of that community. The second thing that we did was the research paper, which in my case was probably the hardest thing for this semester. The research paper was tough, it was lengthy. We did have the necessary time to complete it. I'm not complaining about that. I'm just, I was never used to reading a research paper. I think I've only done like 3 or 4 throughout my life, and not at this level. So it was good for me to like open up my eyes to a new way of writing and a new way of finding information with the primary research, the secondary research. In my case, I'd interview the owner of the restaurant to acquire more knowledge on my discourse community, which was amazing. The research paper was tough. It was after the spring break thing, after the COVID-19, so we were all kind of lost and okay, what's going on? And I missed some of the classes, so I had to like look at the videos and then look at the what my classmates were like uploading to Blackboard. I wished I could have stayed more connected to the class. I know it's too late now, but I do think that the research paper was one of the hardest things this semester. One of the things that helped me reflect on what's really going on, and how you can really expand your knowledge on something. Not only as a discourse community, but if you really want to know something about something, you can just go into the database of the school and dig yourself into it and find a lot of interesting things that you didn't know even existed. The next thing that we did was the remix, which was kind of weird. Not hard, but weird. It was kind of like, okay, I have all this research, I have this map. Now, how do I combine all that to give a specific message? Which in my case, I wanted to emphasize the importance of Mexican restaurants in the United States. And to me, Mexican restaurants represent our hometown, like our culture. And what I mean by this is I wanted to like transform all that information into a couple sentences that reflected the importance of the restaurants, of Mexican restaurants. And as we all know, well, we live here in the United States. But right here is the valley. It's not that bad. We're close to the border. If anything, we can go to Mexico and all that. But I'm truly targeting Mexican Americans that live further north that really have a hard time finding that true like Mexican flavor in restaurants. And I know it's really hard for restaurants to keep that authenticity of a Mexican restaurant. And I feel like the main message that I wanted to, it's you have to stay true to yourself. You have to remember where you come from. You have to analyze and love where you come from. And I think it was really important for me just to keep it simple. You know, the message I think is that like, hey, to all my Mexican Americans, support your local Mexican restaurant and go out to eat your your favorite Mexican restaurant, something like that. Meaning like, okay, we're going through tough times, and most of the Mexican, like the really Mexican restaurants, not like Taco Bell and things like that, are owned, like family owned. And right now, through what we're going through right now, with COVID-19 and all that, a lot of restaurants are closing. So we have to like help embrace our culture and help them out in these moments of like hard times. And that's why I wanted to post something on Instagram with all my friends, with all my family, could see that this is a big problem and we have to help out each other. Not only Mexican restaurants, but in this case, I wanted to focus on that. Like, you know what? This is who we are. We are Mexican Americans. We have to support our Mexican American culture. And instead of going every day to Chick-fil-A or like every day to McDonald's, I mean, maybe once a week, go to a Mexican restaurant you like. In my case, I've been going to Callejón de los Milagros, Cocos, La Costa, things like that, or even like Mexican, like seafood restaurants, like Muelle or things like that. just to support local businesses and support the culture that we're part of. The next thing is the in-class discussions. Well, really, we didn't get to do much of that, but I remember the first like in-class discussions always helped me open up my eyes, because I was maybe getting the wrong idea of what we wanted to learn for that class, and I was always trying to participate to see if what I learned was what I was supposed to learn, and sometimes I realized that like I was completely off. So thanks to those discussions, I was like, oh, okay, you know what? It goes through this path, not this one, you know. And especially in the first discussions that we had, that we were talking about the map, I don't know what to do. Like I was lost. I don't know how to like separate everything from the map and all that. And discussions in class helped me out. Like, oh, okay, I remember this one classmate was doing something about like nursing, and she had like the whole thing as a like the little hat that they use in nursing. So I was like, oh, okay, she's trying to like symbolize that is the nursing thing. So that helped me out when that helped me out when I was doing mine, which is Mexican. So I was like, okay, you know what, taco, classic Mexican dish. So yeah, that's how the in-class discussions helped me a lot. Individual meetings with Miss D, I'll be honest, I think I only went to 2 out of the 4. Uh, they were like amazing, because you really give out the specific points of what you're looking for, and you really like, you don't cut around the bush. You just tell you like, you know what, I like this, this, and this, and I think you need to work this and this and this. You don't give out what you want, like, oh yeah, you just write this and I'll give you an 8. No, you kind of like guide us through it, not just give us the answer. I remember the first meeting, I think it was about the map, and I was completely off. I had like arrows all over the place, and it was like it wasn't clear what I wanted like the message to be. So I remember you told me like, hey, you need to be more specific of like what the message is for your audiences. How do you really want to like organize this map? This is a little like messy. So I know the meetings with Miss D were helpful in that case. What else? So the peer feedback, I mean, in-class work was always good, because you got like an idea of what we were doing. And I think that the feedback, once you like did everything and you thought, okay, I think this is good, and then the teacher said like, okay, now revise the work of someone else, and you looked through someone else's and you were like, oh, you know what, he had a good idea, you know, like he said something that I can use. And then you went back to your paper, and people commented on your paper, and you were like, oh, you know what, he's right, I missed this, this, and this. So I think it was really important for those discussions to be implemented, and I do think it was amazing. I do want to leave this video by saying thank you. I know we all going through hard times. I think I've said this like 20 times, but I know it's something that has never happened before, and I know we're all going through different situations. I know it must be hard for everyone, not just from like students, people who got unemployed, people who really don't have any source of income. And so I just want to record this as the moment of experience that this is only going to be once in a lifetime, hopefully. And its experience is going to help us all a lot, because it's something that's never going to happen, hopefully, and it's going to help us to adapt to different situations faster. And for in a future scenario where we have to like change things on the spot, it's going to help us, because you know what, oh, okay, I remember when this happened, I did this and this, and it's amazing. So that's what I want to leave this video at. I know it's a little lengthy, and I'm sorry about it, but I just wanted to express everything that I learned this semester, and I hope you all guys have a wonderful rest of semester. Good luck in finals, and stay safe.